I think I'm in a stronger place than I ever was after the breakdown, or I like to say the breakthrough.
Kanye West reveals some pretty shocking revelations in this recent tell-all interview. This episode is brought to you by Secret Active. New Secret Active provides protection in the moments when it matters most. Looks like Kanye's breakdown was more of a breakthrough. It's no secret that Kanye West is a polarizing figure. He's one of the most famous people in the world. He's married to the most famous Kardashian, has a somewhat tumultuous relationship with his ex-best friend Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce, and recently has been tweeting up a storm that has left many of his fans with mixed feelings. Well, Kanye recently sat down with Charlamagne the God for a 2-hour interview, basically telling all. He opened up about everything we've always wanted to know, and their interview was pretty long, but don't worry you guys, we got your back, and we're gonna break down some of the highlights. So the last we really heard of Kanye in the news is when he had a mental breakdown and was hospitalized for it. Kanye even canceled the rest of his Life of Pablo tour because of it, and touched on the fact that the breakdown really started back in 2009 after he interrupted Taylor Swift at the 2009 VMAs. Ye mentions that the aftermath of interrupting Taylor was what started it all. His songs weren't being played on the radio after that, and he admitted that that screwed with his head. Ye also talked about Jay-Z and Beyonce skipping his wedding and how that made him feel.
You know, I was hurt about them not coming to the wedding. I understand they was going through some things, but if it's family, you know, you're not gonna miss a wedding.
Another point in the interview Kanye talks about is the moment when former President Obama called him a jackass.
I just think that we were in a period where, you know, he had so much stuff to deal with. He couldn't deal with a, wild card like me. I think that's too unpredictable. Someone that wasn't being controlled by strategy and thoughts, or someone who's acting on feelings.
When asked about his breakdown, Kanye said, "I think I'm in a stronger place than I ever was after the breakdown, or I like to say the breakthrough. It was like all these things were almost set up to put me on meds, to break me down. The robbery, I don't know where that came from. Was that a bigger plan, a bigger setup? Also, just being on stage 4 times a week, you get exhausted up there." Yeezy also went into more depth about when his wife Kim Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint in Paris during his tour, and how the robbers were planning to rob Kim after he left Paris. He said, quote, "One of the things she said that she heard was they were coming to rob her and they had to wait until I had left. The people had been strategizing and scheming on that for a long time. So when she probably got to Paris by herself, they were like, this is our chance. The next thing you know, I get off the flight the next day and they were like, oh, okay, we gotta fall back. And then when I left a couple days later, I almost stayed, I hear my friend come up to me and say, your wife was robbed." Kanye also got really candid about rejecting therapy, being in the hospital, and his infamous return to Twitter. He explains the reason behind his recent Twitter rants by saying, quote, "The thoughts that I'm getting out on Twitter now, I want to use this platform to share some of the breakthroughs I've had since going to the hospital. I want to change the stigma of crazy and the stigma of mental health, period. Best believe I'm going to take the stigma off the word crazy." All right, guys, it is now time to turn it over to you. That is a lot to digest. What are your thoughts on Kanye's 2-hour tell-all interview? Please let us know and download all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching Clevver News. I'm on Instagram at NazPerez, and I'll see you guys next time. But before you go, click to the right to see Kanye West admit that his feud with Taylor triggered his breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe. This episode is brought to you by Secret Active. Elevate your performance with Secret Active.